जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यमुना तीरो वनचारी यमुना तीरो वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जयं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्रीमद् ऐसे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की नमाचर्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की समवत वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोहाभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमस्तते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुन् दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिस्वरूप दामोदर स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्सद्भक्तमनये मुनिपुर उद्भवाय च प्रभुपादुलसद्वाणी प्रचर निरतायते। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताका स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो आचार्योपादाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकथा धामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, Text 15. Tanno bhagavan vai bhagavat-pradhāno Tanno bhagavan vai bhagavat-pradhāno mahat-tama ekānta mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ harer udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan tanno bhavān vai bhagavat-pradhāno mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan तन्नो भवान् वै भगवत्-प्रधानो mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer-udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan तन्नो भवान् वै भगवत्-प्रधानो mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer-udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan. Please. bhagavat-pradhāno caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ vidvan bhagavat-pradhāno mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer-udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan तन्नो भवान् वै भगवत्-प्रधानो mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer-udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan. Mataji. तन्नो भवान् वै भगवत्-प्रधानो mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer-udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan तन्नो भवान् वै भगवत्-प्रधानो mahattamaikānta-parāyaṇasya harer-udāraṁ caritaṁ viśuddhaṁ śuśrūṣatāṁ no vitanotu vidvan. Word meaning. Tat, therefore, no of us, bhavan, your good self, vai, certainly, bhagavat, in relation with the personality of Godhead, pradhāna, chiefly, mahat-tama, the greatest of all greats, ekānta, exclusively, parāyaṇasya, of the shelter, hareḥ, of the Lord, udāraṁ, impartial, caritam, activities, viśuddhaṁ, transcendental, śuśrūṣatāṁ, those who are receptive, no, ourselves, vitanotu, kindly describe, vidvan, O learned one. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Translation. O Sūta Gosvāmī, You are a learned and pure devotee of the Lord because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is your chief object of service. Therefore, please describe to us the pastimes of the Lord, which are above all material conception, for we are anxious to receive such messages. Purport. The speaker on the transcendental activities of the Lord should have only one object of worship and service, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the audience of such topics should be anxious to hear about Him. When such a combination is possible, namely a qualified speaker and a qualified audience, it is then and there very much congenial to continue discourses on the transcendence. Professional speakers and a materially absorbed audience cannot derive real benefit from such discourses. Professional speakers make a show of bhagavat-pradhānaḥ for the sake of family maintenance, and the materially disposed audience hear such discourses of bhagavat-pradhānaḥ for some material benefit, namely religiosity, wealth, gratification of the senses, or liberation. Such Bhagavatam discourses are not purified from the contamination of the material qualities, but the discourses between the saints of Naimisharanya and Sūta Gosvāmī are on the transcendental level. There is no motive for material gain. In such discourses, unlimited transcendental pleasure is released both by the audience and by the speaker, and therefore they can continue the topics for many thousands of years. Now, Bhagavat Saptaha are held for 7 days only, and after finishing the show, both the audience and the speaker become engaged in material activities as usual. They can do so because the speaker is not bhagavat-pradhāno and the audience is not śuśrūṣatāṁ, as explained above. So here the sages of Naimisharanya speaking, and they are glorifying Sūta Gosvāmī, the speaker. And they themselves also, they told that we are very eager to hear. Śuśrūṣu. Śuśrūṣu means we are very eager to hear. So indirectly, they actually mention that they are also, as audience, they are ready to hear. And Srila Prabhupada explained the purport that here both the speaker and the audience, they are qualified. So in such a combination, when the speaker and the audience is qualified, so then the discourses becomes productive. Regarding Sūta Gosvāmī, undoubtedly he is a very qualified speaker. When I listen this type of verses, I become little embarrassed because I am not qualified speaker. But this is about Sūta Gosvāmī, so we can at least discuss about Sūta Gosvāmī, who is a qualified speaker. First time Sūta Gosvāmī, he narrated Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and undoubtedly Sūta Gosvāmī was very qualified speaker, and Parikshit Maharaj was also very qualified listener. Parikshit Maharaj, he did not drink water for 7 days and 7 nights, did not eat anything. He continued to hear day and night, non-stop he was hearing. For us it is very difficult to understand how a person can hear Srimad Bhagavatam without drinking, without eating. It is very difficult for any person in Kali Yuga. But he was at the end of Kali Yuga and he was a special person. He was very much blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From his, when he was in the womb of his mother, he was protected by the Lord. So he is not an ordinary person. So that's why it was possible for him. Although you see that when he went for hunting and he became thirsty, he was so thirsty that when he did not get water to drink, he became so upset that he was garlanding. He garlanded one sage, Shamik Rishi. He garlanded with a dead snake. So he was so thirsty. But where is that thirst gone? When he was listening Bhagavatam, the thirst is gone for 7 days. Isn't it? A person who could not tolerate thirst for a few moments, the same person is tolerating thirst for 7 days. So that is the effect of, good speaker and good listener. Parikshit Maharaj was one of the best listener. Actually, he is the best listener. Sravane Parikshit Abhavat. There is a verse where it says, Sri Vishnu Sravane Parikshit Abhavat. In hearing, Parikshit Maharaj is the best. And in speaking, Sukadeva Gosvāmī is the best. Boyashoki Kirtane. Kirtane means glorifying. In speaking, Sukadeva Gosvāmī is the best. So after Sukadeva Gosvāmī spoke for 7 days and Parikshit Maharaj listened it very attentively and he left his body, a snake bird called Takshaka came and had beaten Parikshit Maharaj, and Parikshit Maharaj smilingly left his body. After that, for the second time, this Srimad Bhagavatam recitation took place in Naimisharanya. First time it took place in Shuktal, I think in UP, in Shuktal. There is a place called Shuktal where the first recitation of Bhagavatam took place. And second time, actually what we are listening today, it is the narration about the second time Bhagavad discourse. So it was held in Naimisharanya. Naimisharanya is still there, and in that Naimisharanya, first the discourse was started by Ramaharshan. Ramaharshan was also qualified. His name indicates, Roma means hair on the body, Roma. Harshan means harsha. Harsha means ecstatic, symptom. When somebody becomes very ecstatic by listening Krishna Katha, it is called harsha, one of the 8 ecstatic symptoms, harsha. So his name is Ramaharshana, means his hair was always standing. When he was speaking Bhagavatam, his hair was standing on his body. So that means he was qualified, but he had one disqualification. The disqualification is that he could not recognize the main object of Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, he was not so bad. That's why the sages in Naimisharanya selected him, that you become the speaker. Because when Sukadeva Gosvāmī was speaking first time, he was listening, his son was listening. His son is Sūta Gosvāmī. So you know the story. At that time, Balaram, he was touring, he was going different holy places, and he arrived in Naimisharanya. So when all the sages, they saw Balaram, they understood he is the object of Srimad Bhagavatam, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the object of Srimad Bhagavatam, about whom the discussion will continue for 1000 years, that was the plan. The object of Srimad Bhagavatam has come in front of us. So all the sages, they stood up. But our Ramaharshan, he thought, I am speaker. I am speaker. So maybe it is not compulsory for me to stand up. It happens sometimes. One time, Srila Prabhupada entered into a temple. At that time, Pujari was doing arati. So now you suggest what to do. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Pujari should not stop arati. So the Pujari, he was doing arati and he suddenly saw that Prabhupada is there in the temple. Suddenly Prabhupada came. And the Pujari stopped arati and came out from altar and offered obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Some of the other devotees are questioning, is it okay stopping arati and coming out from altar, offering obeisances to Guru Maharaj? Is it okay? So the same Pujari asked question to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I did like this. Is it okay? He wanted to get authorization whether it is okay or not. Prabhupada said, generally it is not okay, but for you it is okay. You see, actually sometimes, according to time and circumstances, because it was in Western country, for them devotion to spiritual master is more important. Because if they have extreme devotion to spiritual master, they will listen whatever Prabhupada says. Whatever Prabhupada says, they will listen. So Prabhupada knew that that kind of respect is necessary, at least in the Western countries, because in the beginning, it was very difficult to create respect. So Prabhupada permitted, authorized, and as he is himself, he is a very, a pure devotee, whatever he authorized, we accept. So some exceptional cases. But generally, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, even if some exalted devotee comes, enters into temple, the pujari should not stop arati, and pujari should not come out of altar until and unless the arati is complete. This is the general standard. So, in case of Ramaharshan thought, I am speaker. It is fact. See, I am speaking now, many senior devotees, more senior than me, are present here. But I did not leave my Beshashan and offered obeisances. Because it is general rule that a speaker generally doesn't leave the Beshashan. So Ramaharshan thought like this. But there was a mistake. It was a very special case where Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, himself arrived in Naimisharanya, where they started to discuss about Krishna, and Balaram is non-different from Krishna. So it was Ramaharshan's duty to get down from his Beshashan and offer obeisances, or at least to stand up. Like other sages, they offered obeisances and stood up. Similarly, it was duty of Ramaharshan to get down from the Beshashan and offer obeisances to Balaram and stand up. It was his duty. But he could not understand his duty. So Balaram understood that he is not a qualified speaker. So if Ramaharshan Sūta is not qualified speaker, what to speak of speaker like me? Balaram may kill me also, you understand? Of course, Balaram killed. Ramaharshan Sūta was killed by Balaram. Balaram just took a dry grass. Bala means power, he just tossed. It is the example of power. He just tossed with the grass. He tossed Balaram with that grass, dry grass, and Balaram got heart attack. Our Ramaharshan got heart attack and he left his body. See? Just in the beginning of the discourse, there was an unwanted happening, So all the sages, they became little unhappy because they were expecting so much. They would listen about Krishna, and they were so eager. They were ready to listen for, as long as they are alive. The discourse will continue for 1000 years. This was the plan for the benefit of upcoming Kali Yuga. They were doing this for the benefit of Kali Yuga people. So then they requested Balaram. So they are afraid of Balaram also, and they love Balaram, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So please make some arrangements so that our desire can be fulfilled. We came here to listen Bhagavatam with so much great thirst. We came from long distances, from different parts of universe. We have come here. So please make some arrangement. So then Balaram called Sūta Gosvāmī, who was son of Ramaharshan, because he is more qualified than his father. When Sūta Gosvāmī was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, Sūta Gosvāmī was sitting and listening Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days with rapt attention. And Balaram, as his antarjami, he could read the heart and mind of everyone, and he knows everything. So he knows this Sūta Gosvāmī is much more qualified than his father. So then he selected Sūta Gosvāmī. So all the listeners of Naimisharanya, that this person who is selected by God Himself, he is authorized by God Himself. Previously, they requested Ramaharshan, and he was not authorized by God Himself. He was authorized by the sages. But this Sūta Gosvāmī, he is authorized by God Himself. So he must be very, very qualified. So they are telling that we know you are a very, very qualified speaker. Although by birth he was, he was born in a so-called low family. Sūta is a little, they are neither Brahmana, Kshatriya, they are in, I think, Shudra category. Sūta Gosvāmī. So by birth he was not so qualified. But Sūta Gosvāmī, the title is Gosvāmī. Gosvāmī means the topmost level of, those who are in the topmost level of spiritual life, they are called Gosvāmī. So he was, by birth he was Sūta, low born, but as far as quality is concerned, he is in the level of Gosvāmī. And he was selected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everybody knew that he is a very qualified speaker. Very rare to achieve, very rare to meet such kind of qualified speaker. Nothing can be compared to associate with a person like Sūta Gosvāmī, like Srila Prabhupada. Those who got the chance to associate with Srila Prabhupada, they were very, very lucky, because he was also, very qualified speaker, very qualified devotee, Srila Prabhupada, very much empowered. About Prabhupada, there was prediction in scripture also, long back, thousands of years ago, prediction is written that a very special devotee will come who will carry the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western countries. This type of predictions are there in the previous, by previous acharyas in the previous scripture. So Prabhupada was very special speaker. Maybe the listeners to whom Prabhupada spoke, all of them were not so qualified. But here in this sloka it is said, when both are qualified, the speaker is qualified, the listener is qualified, then the byproduct, the production of, what is the production? Production is pure devotion. This is the production. The production will be perfect. Sometimes an example is given. Man and woman gets married. Now after marriage, what is the production? Child. Child is the production, is it not? But sometimes there is no child. There are many families, they don't have child. They go to doctor. Sometimes doctor checks up. And doctor tells, oh, your husband has some defect. Sometimes doctor tells, the wife has some defect. So when husband has some defect, there will be no child. When wife has some defect, there will be no child. When both are perfect, there will be nice child. Sometimes they are not so perfect. Sometimes they give birth to handicapped, blind child, or some limbs of the body is paralyzed. So the spiritual life is almost like that. When Guru is perfect, here like Sūta Gosvāmī, the speaker, Shiksha Guru, he is perfect and the listeners are perfect, then there will be production, nice production of pure devotion. Exceptional cases are there. Sometimes there is, mixed devotion. It is like sometimes husband and wife, they produce handicapped child, isn't it? Sometimes they produce handicapped child. Sometimes they have defect, they go to doctor. Sometimes doctor can also cure the problem. Actually, spiritually, nobody is disqualified. Spiritually, everybody is potent. Spiritually, everybody is potent. Jivera Swarup hoy, Krishna Nityadas. Spiritually, we are all potent. The speaker is potent, the listener is potent, because spiritually we have so much power. But because it is covered with Maya, because it is covered with material body and material consciousness, so that spiritual potency is not lost but is covered. Just like a magnet, 100 gram magnet, if it is covered with say 10 kilos of soil, then the magnet cannot show its power. The same magnet, when it is uncovered, when it is washed with water, the same magnet can show its power. It can attract some iron. Similarly, the soul is like this. It is like a piece of magnet which is covered in material world. That magnet, the magnet called soul, is covered with material desires, material consciousness, with Maya, it is covered. So the doctor, spiritual master, is the right doctor, and Krishna himself is also the supreme doctor. Sometimes they can cure, just like a disqualified husband, a husband who is impotent, cannot produce child, he can be sometimes cured with help of a doctor. Similarly, sometimes spiritual master can cure our impotency. So, both part should be qualified. The speaker and the listener, both should be qualified. There are exceptional cases, just like there is a story in Chaitanya Bhagavat that Srivas Thakur went to listen Srimad Bhagavatam to Devananda Pandit, and Devananda Pandit was not qualified. He was more or less important, like important husband. But when Srivas Thakur was listening from Devananda Pandit, he started to cry. Very severely he started to cry. Then his disciples, Devananda Pandit's disciples, they saw this man is disturbing in Bhagavatam class. He is crying like anything. So they pulled him. Hey, come out. Why you are crying here? And Devananda Pandit looked at him and he did not say a single word. He was just looking. The disciple took him outside the gate and he was told, you go, you don't stay here. You are not qualified listener. But actually, he was the most qualified listener. So here it is exceptional case. Here the speaker is not qualified, the listener was most qualified. Sometimes in spiritual case, it is not comparable with husband and wife always, because spiritual power is so potent that even if speaker is disqualified, sometimes there may be some effect. Especially when the right book like Srimad Bhagavatam, he was not reading from any smarta books or any other books, Tamashik Purana, he was not reading, but he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. The book was right book, and listeners, Srivas Thakur was the right person, but the speaker was not qualified. So it affected. Just like banyan seed, sometimes it is eaten by birds. And the bird, they digest so many things. Their digestive power is very strong, especially the ducks. They eat so many nasty things and they digest. You understand? Many birds, their digestive power is very strong, but they cannot digest the seed of banyan tree. Seed of banyan tree is very small, smaller than mustard seed. Have you seen? If you break, generally it is a fruit, but if you break the fruit, there are thousands of seeds smaller than mustard seeds inside that fruit, and the bird, they eat that fruit along with the seed. And sometimes they go to cemented area, cemented building, and they pass stool, and you will find sometimes banyan tree growing on cement, on concrete, bricks. How is it possible? Is it fertile? The building is fertile? No. Building is not fertile. It's most unfertile place. Like desert. If you put nice seed in desert, it will not grow, isn't it? But first of all, the seed is almost digested and the land is building, which is not fertile. Both are, practically speaking, disqualified. Both side is disqualified. Building is not fertile land, and the seed is also semi-digested, half-digested. But still, the banyan tree grows. Devotional life is like this. It is so strong that sometimes both part is not so qualified, but sometimes devotion grows. That's why we get courage to speak. Otherwise, if we follow this standard, which is explained in this purport, I am not qualified speaker, but because I think myself, okay, just like the building is not a qualified place for growing some tree, and the seed is also not qualified because it is eaten by a bird, but still it is growing. I have seen in old building, big banyan trees. If you go to Puramatala, the whole building is standing, the whole banyan tree is rooted in that building. Many hundreds of years ago, some banyan, maybe some bird pastule, and from that, that banyan tree came out, and it has become a huge banyan tree now. So devotional service and devotional life is like that. It cannot be spoiled so easily. But in case of fertile land and first-class seed, it grows very quickly. Similarly, when we get this type of association, when the speaker is first class, the listener is first class, then devotional life grows very quickly, very speedily. Opposite example is also there. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur to preach the glories of holy name, they went out and first they met Jagai and Madhai. Here Nityananda Prabhu is qualified, most qualified. Devananda Pandit was disqualified, but Nityananda Prabhu was qualified. Srivas Pandit was qualified listener, but Jagai and Madhai were disqualified listener. They were drunkard, they did all kind of sinful activities. But somehow or other, in the beginning there was some problem. I think Jagai hit Madhai. This name I always confuse. Madhai hit Nityananda Prabhu's forehead with a broken piece of earthen pot. You understand? So this is the problem. This is the problem, that when a qualified speaker can preach to disqualified listener, but there may be some problem. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna objected. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha śuśrūṣatāṁ vaccham na cha jomang abhashoti. Krishna gave many objections. One of idam te na tapaskaya, those who are not austere, those who are not doing tapasya, don't speak about Bhagavad Gita or don't preach to them. In simple word, don't preach to them, those who are not austere. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya, those who are not my devotee, those who do not have love for me, don't preach to them. Na bhaktaya kadachana na cha śuśrūṣatāṁ, those who are not interested to hear, don't speak to them. Na cha śuśrūṣatāṁ vaccham na cha jamang abhashoti, and those who are envious of me, don't preach to them. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood was more liberal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not put any condition or terms and condition. He cannot preach to them. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. He was much more liberal because he knew in Kali Yuga now, just like it is like a blanket. In blanket there are many what is called fur, and if you want to clean this fur, one by one you remove the hair from blanket will be nil. Lombaste kambal ujar. In Kali Yuga it will be like this. If we select who is qualified, who is not qualified, who is qualified speaker, who is qualified listener, it will be very difficult to continue preaching. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became much more liberal. He said, Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. And Srila Prabhupada became much more liberal. Even most envious person also sometimes we see. Srila Prabhupada was interested to preach. He used to say about the Muslims, Prabhupada used to say, those who can preach to the Muslim, I touch his feet. I take dust from his feet. Prabhupada, the pure devotee, he is telling like this. It is practically speaking against Krishna's instruction. Krishna says, don't preach. Don't advise to those who are envious. After listening this, sometimes I dare to preach to the Muslim. And sometimes recently one Muslim scholar, he objected. He said, "Your Krishna, you are preaching about Krishna. And your Krishna, he is a very nasty person, he is a very naughty person. He was dancing with others' wife and he was stealing the clothes of so many unmarried gopis. So, what kind of God you are worshipping? He is completely disqualified. He is not God at all. He is a very characterless person in this way." And Krishna says, "Don't preach to them." They are envious. Don't preach to them. But Prabhupada says, "Preach to them." And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he himself was preaching to Chatkaji, to Pathans. He was preaching. So our mood is, because the mercy, when it is going down and down, it becomes broader. Just like Ganga river. In Gangotri it is small. You come little down, Rishikesh, it is little bigger. You come more down, Haridwar, it is more bigger. You come to Bengal, it is much more bigger. You go to Ganga Sagar, it is almost like ocean. So mercy is flowing like this. In the beginning there is some, they are taking some break. Don't give mercy to them, don't give mercy to them. But when it is coming down and down, and at least when it came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then came to Prabhupada, mercy has become much more broader. That's why disqualified speaker like me can speak. Otherwise, there was no hope to speak about Krishna in previous yugas. But in Kali Yuga, it has been by mercy principle. This has been made much more easier, so that many disqualified person can speak. But we have to follow Srila Prabhupada because he is qualified speaker. So when we follow him, then by his mercy, by the mercy of Vaishnava, even though we are disqualified, some of we are disqualified, but by the mercy, because mercy has become much more broader than before, so we have little hope that we can try to speak. So anyway, so that when that Muslim said like this, that your Krishna is very naughty, he is not qualified to become a man also, and you are making him God. He is not qualified man also, you are making him God. This type of language. So then I said, what is the problem? Then he said, why he was watching the naked girl, they were taking bath and he stole the cloth and they came out. So I asked them that whether God can see everything or not. In Quran there is a word, Allah is Sarvadrashta. Sarvadrashta means he can see everything. He can see everything. So if he can see everything, somebody is taking bath in bathroom, God can see or not? If you say he cannot see, that means he is blind. God is blind. But it is mentioned in Quran, God can see everything. Allah can see everything. So that means when some lady is taking bath in some bathroom, God can see, Allah can see. I told like this. So Allah is seeing. Millions of ladies taking bath, Allah is seeing. God is seeing. So then he said, yes, seeing, we agree, but our Allah is not stealing clothes. Our Allah is not stealing clothes. See, argument continues. So then I said, okay, Allah is not stealing cloth, but whether seeing naked girl for Allah is good or bad? I said, good. I mean, he is compelled to say good or bad. You say, God seeing some naked girl, good or bad? He is Sarvadrashta, he sees everything. So for him, there cannot be bad. Now I said, if 10% is not bad, why 20% will be bad? He is seeing many naked girls already. So this is 10%. And he is stealing some clothes. Okay, there is some background also. It is not that he is stealing clothes of all girls. Those girls are qualified. They are asking Krishna to become their husband. There are a background story. And he stole their clothes. So now the point is that if he is not contaminated by seeing naked ladies, which is say 10%, by 10%, I mean, which is in human behavior, it is considered as very nasty things. But for God, it is not nasty, it is not impure, it is not sinful for God. If you say sinful, then God cannot be seer of everything, isn't it? But if God can digest 10% sin, which is sin for human, why He cannot digest 20% sin? Why He cannot digest 20% sin? So He can steal cloths also. And just to establish that formula, just to establish that principle, Krishna showed His power that I can digest 100% sin. Apapa vidvam. Apapa vidvam means Krishna can digest all ocean of sin. Just like Mahadev, Lord Shiva, he digested so much poison when there was Samudra Manthan. He digested all the poison. If you take one drop of poison, from that poison you will die. But Lord Shiva, what to speak of dying? He kept all the poison in his throat. And not only that, when he was leaving that place, the demigods and others requested, please wait for some time. After some time there will be nectar, and you can take share of nectar. Shiva said, no, goodbye. I don't need nectar. He got the benefit of nectar without nectar. With nectar, that is Harikatha. The topic about Krishna, he was absorbed, he is pure devotee, Vaishnavanam Jatha Shambhu. So he got better nectar. The nectar which was produced from ocean of milk, that was the demigods, they took it and they will remain alive for 1 lakh, 2 lakhs years or 10 lakh years. That nectar has temporary effect. It may be 1 lakh or 2 lakhs or 10 lakhs years, but that nectar is not eternal nectar. But Lord Shiva got eternal nectar, that is Harikatha. He is a pure devotee, Vaishnavanam Jatha Shambhu. So he got better nectar. He is not affected by this poison, and he doesn't require this temporary nectar. He already achieved eternal nectar. So eternal nectar is devotion to Lord. Eternal nectar is Krishna Katha. So if you can achieve that eternal nectar, you don't require all this so-called nectar, and you can digest. You also become powerful. But still it is said, those who are not qualified, they should not imitate Lord Shiva by drinking. Sometimes they smoke gaja, marijuana, gaja. And if you ask them, why are you smoking? No, Lord Shiva smoke. But Lord Shiva can digest ocean of poison. Can you digest? And they get sick by smoking ganja. The devotees of Chandi, they drink wine. They offer wine to Chandi. And the devotees of Kali, they take meat. You understand? In this way, they think they are very qualified, like Lord Shiva. But we are not qualified. So we should avoid what Krishna did. We cannot imitate him. Krishna did Rasa dance, but he also became millions of Krishna. Millions of gopi came, and Krishna became millions of Krishna. So here his digestion power and our digestion power is not same. So in this way we have to understand. Apapa vidvam, God is all pure. Under all circumstances he is pure. He is stealing butter, he is pure. He is running from battlefield, ranachor, he is pure. If you run from battlefield being a soldier, we will call you coward. But if you go to Gujarat, there are many temples of ranachor. Ranachor means, my dear Krishna, you are very good, you have left, you ran away from battlefield. My dear Krishna Vastrahari, you have stolen the clothes of all the gopis. You understand? My dear Krishna, you are a Rasa dancer, you danced with so many wives of others. Practically nobody is wives of others. Everybody is Krishna's energy. Every living entity is Krishna's energy. Mamai Vangsha Jiva Loke. So nobody is other's wife, everybody is Krishna's wife. This was Prabhupada's argument. Nobody is other's wife. Everybody belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the owner of every soul. So this theory that Krishna is dancing with other's wife, practically it is wrong. But apparently, just to make it little, more relishable, spiritually relishable, the complete thing is on a spiritual level, and we judge from material level. Suppose I have experience of stool, experience of snake, Now I go to some sweet stall, there is snake made of sandesh, sandesh, snake made of sandesh. Now if I become afraid, snake, but the snake which I saw, cobra, this is one kind of snake, and the snake in sweet stall, this is very relishable snake. You understand? I cannot compare both. Similarly, Krishna's stealing of clothes, Krishna's rasa dance, it is completely on different level, spiritual level. It is spiritual nectar. But when you compare with our narrow experience, you are drinking distillery water, and the pig is thinking, he is drinking drain water. You understand? Pig is habituated to drink drain water, black drain water. And if you are drinking some water, he may think maybe this man is also drinking drain water. So our condition is like this, because we are habituated with nasty things, and we think, Krishna is doing like this, maybe it is like nasty like me. But we forget that it is sandesh, snake made of sandesh. One day I was walking in Kolkata road near Shialda. One man is selling stool. I don't know whether you have seen this or not. Just like children, they pass stool with some, pointed, head. I saw he's selling stool. I went near, and he said, all these are plastic stool, a stool made of plastic. But it is not same stool, but the color and everything was like exactly like stool. So people, those who have some, nasty mentality, they purchase. They keep in some place just to make fun, maybe near dining table they keep one stool just to make fun with friends. So those who do not understand Krishna's, the spiritual level, they sometimes compare Krishna stealing clothes with ordinary, person stealing cloth. But when ordinary person steals clothes, they are arrested by police, beaten by the villagers, isn't it? But Krishna is worshipped still today. He appeared 5,248 years ago, as far as I heard from Srimad Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. But still today we are worshipping Vastrahari, Gopijana Vastrahari. So this is the point, that those who understand that Krishna is all pure, only those listener they are qualified to listen about Krishna. And the person who was complaining, you Krishna, what kind of God you are worshipping? They are disqualified listener. But disqualified listener, whether we should speak or not, Krishna says don't speak. Mahaprabhu said, okay, speak. Prabhupada, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Later on his guru came to know that he disobeyed me, and he became happy that my disciple disobeyed me. Because mercy is such a thing. Krishna thinks, if he preaches to non-devotees, they may beat him. Sometimes they kill also, So Krishna says, don't preach. But Mahaprabhu and his followers like Srila Prabhupada, they become so merciful. Like Ramanujacharya, he disobeyed his Guru Maharaj also. So in this way, devotees are more merciful. It is mercy like in the near ocean. Ganga has become so much bigger. So mercy is flowing down and down, and descending mercy becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So I like to stop here. There may be half minutes for question. If you have any question, we can try to discuss. Any question, please raise hand. Okay, you speak loudly then. Yeah, but Rupa Gosvāmī, as far as I remember, Rupa Gosvāmī, he, according to his instruction, you should not leave arati under any circumstance.
We can check in Nectar of Devotion.
Yeah, but Prabhupada might have mentioned, but it is not mentioned by Rupa Gosvāmī. It is special sanctioned by Prabhupada, and we accept it because it depends on the situation. If the follower needs Guru's help, his faith in Guru is more important, because his faith to Krishna may not be matured. But if he has sufficient faith in Guru, just like in case of Lord Buddha, they did not have faith in God, but they have faith in Lord Buddha. You understand? So in this way, sometimes it happens when people do not have, his faith in God is not matured, his faith in Krishna is not matured, his faith in Guru is more important. It is fact.
I think in the context of Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama,
Yeah.
Kanishta Adhikari worships the deity but he does not know how to respect the devotees, and Madhyama Adhikari, he knows, he worships the deity but he also knows how to. So in that connection, I think this example is given of...
Yeah, that's why I am telling that situation. It depends on the situation, and Prabhupada sanctioned it, permitted, considering the situation, that in this situation, his faith in me is more important. So Prabhupada authorized.
And the other thing is, you are talking about Roma Harshan. Roma is hair and Harshan means ecstasy. So if he had anarthas in his heart, because he was proud, when Balramji came, he was feeling proud, he did not get up. Then how is he experiencing this ecstatic symptoms? Because Ashta Shatvik Vikar, the 8 symptoms of ecstasy, are produced when your heart is pure. So how does these two go together?
Yeah, it is also mentioned that up to bhava level, there are, I think 9th, and prema is 9th. Adu Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Tata Bhajana Kriya, Tata Anartha Nibritti, Tata Nishtha Ruchi, Tata Bhava. No, prema is 8th, and bhava is 7th stage. Up to 7th stage you can achieve this ecstasy. But you can fall down from bhava stage. You understand? So Ramaharshan's, I think he maybe up to bhava level. He had ecstatic symptom, but he was not so pure. But ecstatic symptom is possible even before prema. According to Shastra, ecstatic symptom can come before prema. Up to bhava level, you can get so much ecstatic symptom. Yeah. There was some pride, otherwise why he will not get down from Vaishashan, and he could not recognize Balaram. There must be some defect, but at the same time, it is not that he did not have ecstatic symptoms. He had ecstatic symptom also. Still, he was not completely qualified. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other comment, Mataji? I can hear. Yeah, it is fact. When I first joined ISKCON, I did not know, I did not know how to dance. And when I saw devotees are dancing like anything, I was just standing, in the corner. When I first came to ISKCON, one day what happened, I was in Kolkata temple, and there was a very nice kirtan. The kartal player was very excellent. His hand was speaking, Kartal may lose also that ecstasy. What is that? Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah. There are, without cause there is no effect. Cause must be there, reason must be there. Thank you very much. So can I stop here? Okay. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shamavata Vaishnava Bhakta Brinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.